timing?
Video.
Right.
So we'll just stay still.
Yeah. Yeah. That'll be the outtake.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Thank you for all the views. Thank you for all the likes. Comments have been fantastic. Not one negative comment on there, which is great for our first video. Appreciate there was a few little issues, but we are getting there. Welcome back to the bike, CB1000 Hornet. Today we're going to be looking at crash protection with some frame sliders. We're going to be looking at rear bobbins so we can get the bike up into the air, get the wheels off for the ceramic coating. And we're also going to be looking at a TFT screen. We're going to be getting that protected. Towards the end of the video, that's when we're going to start the dismantling for the new tail tidy we've got. Stay tuned and hope you enjoy.
Welcome back, folks. Hope you're well. So, first task that we've got, it's twofold actually, ABBA stand. So if you have never dealt with an ABBA stand before, it's a really cool bit of kit. We're going to show you in a minute. We'll put a little montage up of how we install that. There is a specific set of cups that come, and these essentially go through the axle for the swing arm spindle. So the main bolt through the swing arm. I believe they'll probably be the same for as the CBR650, given that that's what the swing arm is. But we asked ABBA directly, and if anyone wants to know, it's fitting kit number 55. So if you've got a Hornet and you're looking at getting one, they do work with both the full-size ABBA stand, the Skylift, and the smaller generic ABBA stand. So we're going to fit that. We're going to fit the crash sliders, well, the frame sliders to the bike. As you can see, and you'll probably see in the montage, we've got a couple of extra sets of bolts here. So again, the standard bolts on the R&G crash sliders are an 8mm fine thread, metric fine. The Honda runs a M12 metric fine. So we took one out, got it measured up against these, went to our local fastener shop and got this. Now what I would say is, yeah, we could wait for R&G to bring out a specific kit from Honda, but for the sake of drilling a 12mm hole through a generic set of these, we paid 30 quid for these off a good friend of ours.
Yeah.
And they've never been crashed, so they're essentially like brand new. We've got a full set of crash sliders ready to fit, or frame sliders ready to fit for 35 quid. So you can't say fairer than that. Bargain of the week. After that, obviously, as Michael said, we've got some rear paddock stands. Now, as we mentioned in the first video, they don't run a capacity for standard paddock stands to bolt in like an M6 bobbin or a reel, as most people have seen on their standard bikes. So what this does is it changes the axle blocks. This bolts onto there and it creates a point at the back for us to pick the bike up. So we're going to fit them as well. Yeah, we're only going to test fit them to make sure they're right because the wheels have got to come out. We've got 2 TFT screen protectors because it's Michael's job to fit it. And I guarantee Balls is the first one up.
And possibly the second.
And possibly the second. And then obviously we've got the Jtech rear tail tidy. Now in the first video, I do apologise. We said it was a CB750 Hornet, and I know Michael corrected us. It is actually the CBR650R rear tail tidy, so we've got the right one. So we're going to start dismantling that. We're going to take a look at that. And yeah, we have the ceramic coating planned for, I think it's in about 3 or 4 days from when we've filmed this. Yeah. So it'll probably be a week for you guys. And Chris, the guy who's going to be doing that, is on board, and we will get a full video of that. So we won't hang about. We're going to start getting this up on the stand and start taking some bits and bobs out. Yeah. So it literally slides and engages over the top of the pin, yeah? Right, 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's in.
Right. And that side's in.
Yeah.
Right, just keep it there a sec. And then we've got to tighten this side up. Right guys, our stand's on. So as you can see, that was quite painless. before we fit this, just a couple of things in case there's any Hornet owners out there that are looking to get some. These, as we said earlier, are just a standard R&G Aero frame slider. Nothing different about them. They run a standard, I think by standard run an M10 bolt. Obviously the Honda runs a slightly bigger bolt. It's an M12, 55mm long, and it's a metric fine pitch. It's an M125 pitch. Go to any General Hawk fasteners, any local fastener store, you can get a bolt. This one's 90mm long. At 90mm long, this came with an extra spacer that we could put in, but we don't want them sticking out any more than we need to. So that's going to sit there. If Michael comes down this side, you can see that's obviously more than enough for the side profile of the bike. And let's be honest, if he does crash, the frame slider position and how much it saves is going to be the last of his problems. So we're not hoping for the worst. We're just trying to protect for like a low side spill, just to pick it up if it was to drop on the floor. So sometimes the bush will come out if you try and drill these out because it's just pressed into the plastic. But all you need to do is put it back in. Because of the washer it's got and the fact it's going to a metal face, it's only acting in compression. It's not going to go anywhere. And then it's just literally the case. We're setting it up and bolting it on. And then we'll get on to the other one. So just another top tip, guys, if you're going to do this yourselves and you've never done it before, just do one bolt at a time. Obviously, these are the front engine mounts for the bike. And the last thing you want to do is take them both out. It could have a possibility of obviously canting the engine forward. You don't want that. Make sure if there's a spacer between the frame and the engine, you keep it to one side because that's going to need to go back in. I'll get the new one. Just set up our washers. Going well, this, mate. I'm quite enjoying this malarkey, you know.
I'm learning.
Michael's learning. I'm starting to question every life choice I ever made.
You love it, really.
Oh, I love it.
Late nights in the garage.
Oh, yeah.
After just a full 12-hour shift.
Just don't ask our lass. Sure she loves it.
Same here.
And again, like we said on the other side, we're not putting any extra spacer that came with the donor bike. As we said, we bought these second-hand off a Hayabusa. They've never hit the ground before. And we don't need that extra sort of packing spacer that would push it out past the fairing of an Hayabusa. So we're putting these straight up against the frame. And then it's just a case
nice easy job to protect your bike as well.
Super cheap as well, because you can buy these second hand. Every Facebook marketplace, just type in R&G. There's plenty of them.
There we go, get that beefy tight.
That's 16 Ugga Duggers, that.
Is that an Ugga Dugs?
That's in natural Ugga Dugs. So
there we go, finish it off with the cap. Spot on, job's
nice easy little job. Next, on to the next one.
Right, guys, got the rear axle block here with a bobbin on. We're just going to loosen off the nut on the back axle, which is a 27mm. We're going to loosen that off, pull it out slightly, offer up the new axle block, and just see if it fits. Top tip, guys. Beef just told me this. I didn't know this. So first of all, took it off, marry it up to what you're putting on. Make sure that the holes inside, they marry up and you know that they're the same size. Also, once the bike's on there and you know that the chain's already set, just make sure that the back side of it and the line inside, the holes inside, make sure they marry up so you know that chain's not going anywhere and you can just offer this straight up. Put it straight on like that.
I think that looks rather fetching, mate.
It's better than the silver, isn't it?
Certainly is. That's it. Yeah.
Light butter.
Right, hang on.
There we go, fantastic.
Hang on, wait. Right, just pull on the back of the wheel a touch for me, because it's got to clear this. Pull that way. Gently. Go on. It's got to clear the stud. That's it. There you go. You can put yours on.
Job's a good one. Right, guys. First world problems here. We've obviously been one of the first people in the country to have the bike. There's not a lot of products out there. Prepped the screen, prepped everything, and I noticed that I've actually purchased too small of a screen protector. Just before we started cleaning the bike, we noticed that the screen from factory has come exceedingly scratched. So
yeah, it's got a lot on it.
So what we're going to do, when it gets ceramic coated on Saturday and it gets prepped and things like that, we're going to have a word with Beefy's mate, and I'm sure that'll be spick and span.
Tail tidy time. Obviously, we can't do out with the screen right now, so we're going to get on with this. This is a kit that comes from a company called Jtech. Readily found on eBay, places like that. Really good little kit. Comes with everything you should need, including, I believe, looking at that, it's got the correct connectors on it for the Honda lights. So we'll double check. So we're going to set the camera up, pull all this rear end off. If there's anything of note, we'll get into it when we come to it. And we'll see if we can get this off and get this fitted. So you start taking the tank off, mate. All the seats off. I don't tend to spin it over because it's already done.
I'm not going to lie, Beef, that was actually the correct one as well.
So we'll put this at the back, mate. Any bolts? Yeah.
Spot on.
Yeah. So that goes in that black rivet. Push the middle. And then pull the outside of the rivet. It comes out, you know what I mean? Right, so we're back on with pulling this tail apart. Little bit of a fight. We've never took one of these apart before, so we don't really know exactly how Honda do it. We have found out now how Honda do it, and without swearing, what a ball ache it is. So this piece, which obviously sits on the tail section up here, is the first item to come off. For any of you Honda owners that want to know how to do it, it's captured by 2 points. A rear tail hook sits in there. It's got 2 clips that just sit into the plastic. So the plastic will need to be pushed apart as you lift it. But what it's also got is 2 of these. Now, it's really hard to see where they are. They're a nightmare. Essentially, it's just like a spring-loaded rivet or a spring clip. But where they sit is, they would sit on this point here. So for reference, you'll see where that is. It just sits down in a channel on the upper section of the trim. I'll just grab it. All right. So imagine the trim's in this position as it would be. And what these do is they sit in that panel and they locate through that hole and obviously clip in. So when you're looking to take this apart, you're going to have to get something like a small pick, and you're basically going to have to try and fish in there and pop and release that. It was an absolute nightmare, and I'm not going to lie to you. We ended up snapping one of the pieces off. At that point, we were committed to getting it off. Now, when it does go back on, fortunately, between the rear clips and the front rivets and the screws, it won't flex and move anyway. But we've got plans for this anyway, so we're not too panicked about that. Once we got that off, it's quite self-explanatory. Opened up, so rear light cluster. As you can see, the wiring's pretty well organised. Don't know if Mike can pull in a little bit. But right hand side, we've got a small block. Now, the blue and the orange come in the Jtech kit, in the wiring kit. They're going to be your indicators. The blue feed, as you can see, wires through, goes direct to the light, which, out process of elimination, it means that the green and brown is probably the number plate light. So it should be quite straightforward to wire in. We don't know yet if we have to cut it. Normally with a Jtech kit, what it does is it has bullet connectors. I'll just grab it and we'll show you. So what Jtech kindly do is they put bullet connectors on, and what this allows you to do is obviously plug it directly into the factory harness, but feed it through any holes for the grommets in case the hole's bigger than this. And then what you normally do is plug that straight back into your indicator you're going to use. Now, they'll probably set that up for aftermarket indicators. I think we're going to retain the original Honda ones.
I think they're all right, to be honest.
So we'll look at stripping them out of the factory monstrosity. I was trying to be nice there, but it's like the Fourth Road Bridge hanging off the back of this bike. So we're going to disconnect it, get it on the bench, rewire these in. We know which points we're going to terminate because they're colour-coded. Once we get that in, we can bolt it up, check the lights, check the wiring, and if we're happy with that, we can rebuild this back end. To be fair, I think where the point of the bike is right now, we might actually leave it like this over the weekend because it's a good opportunity to get a good ceramic coat in there to stop any corrosion. And then obviously we can get Christian to coat all the trim. So we'll pick this back up in a minute when we get this tail tardy off. Oh. Right. So
there we go.
Yeah.
I say there we go. About 18 more threads on that. There we go.
Right, so just fish the cables through.
There we go.
Alright.
Spot on.
Put that through the hole.
That came up left, didn't it?
Yeah, it just comes up and into there. Right. Alright. Same for these. So these two go through. Yeah. Pull through, get your bolts.
Right.
If them bolts are slightly, if the holes are slightly out, what you'll find is by putting the first one in, you won't get the second one in. You got it?
Yeah. You in?
Yeah. Yep. Got a really light. Oh, hang on. Try that.
Let's have a look. So, right indicator. Left indicator.
Yeah. Just tap your
Fantastic.
brake light.
Spot on.
Perfect. Perfect!
New tail tardies on. Absolutely beauty, over the moon. Old one, glad that one's going in the bin. Next, ceramic coating. Beefy and Chris are going to be ceramic coating it over the weekend, and it's going to be an absolute beaut. After that, I can put miles on it. I can get the first service out the way, and we can look at this exhaust, and we can look to powder coat parts. Can't thank you enough for watching, guys. Like and subscribe. Thank you.